Hey, VIP guest, lovely to see you. I am just on my way to work, and because I live only 5 minutes from work, this is going to be a very slow, James the One, very slow, very short meeting. Why have a uting when you can have a meeting? Hey, Miss Bombshell, lovely to see you. So, I thought I would share with you guys a name. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of Sergio Redegali. Sergio Redegali. So Mr. Sergio Redegali was an artiste. He was an artiste, platinum Mimi. And he was an activist. And apart from his trolling support for Israel, he was basically, like myself, way on the left, an artist who loved culture more than anything. Maybe a vating, yeah, that's right. Very cool. So our job, right, we saw this coming about 10 years ago. About 10 years ago, we decided that we were going to expose the virus of the authoritarian left, because we, being true liberals, right, who loved art and loved culture and loved Iran, right, we felt that we had to expose them for what they were, the animals and the hostages of our side that they were. So together, along with some pieces of shit who I've since discovered were just racists, used to develop protests that would deliberately trigger the alt-left, right? The maniacal, fake, authoritarian wannabe leftists. And so we made the news quite a fair bit. So if anyone, once again, every time I tell you guys a story, it makes me realize, holy shit, I've done a lot. So if you ever go on the news, you'll see that he was on TV and I helped fund some of his operations. And unfortunately, my stuff collapsed, so I was unable to help him after a while. But this was before social media was prolific. So, the mainstream media called him a racist. Sergio Redegali, if you look him up, he was a good friend of mine. And our job was to expose the authoritarian left. And so what we would do is deliberately do things like, I remember once we went to the organization of a mosque like 3 hours away. We rented a bus and then we dressed up in burqas and said that we support the mosque. So it was pretty cool, some of the stuff we did. But some of his friends were a little bit off their head. They went a bit further. Anyway, the point is that it looks like now, I'm glad it hadn't failed, because it has lived on in now what we see, these Trump supporting types who love the free speech, same as us, which is actually, that part is beautiful. Culture, for me, is more important than the politics, right? And culture comes first, and that is where politics is nested within. And so for me, exposing the authoritarians was more important than anything else. And it was really hilarious about Islam. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I made quite a few speeches about Islam. And that's actually at the same time that the government started getting interested in my operation. So I wonder if they confused the two. Hey, Helen. I don't know, every time I see your name Helen, I think Helenoid. That's very terrible, isn't it? I'm sorry. All right, so what were we going to say? Yeah, so I was involved. I was quite heavily involved in that stuff. This is where you met those right-wingers who were a bit bonkers. Yeah, that's right. They were, some of them were just racist, all-out racist. They didn't give a shit really about right or left. They were just fucking racist. Hello, Catherine, Syriac sisters. Anywho, so what we saw, which is really funny, is that these Trumpians, and like Jack Posobiec and all these people who actually they're really on the left, these people, right? They've hijacked, yes, hello, darling. They have hijacked the Republican Party, but they're not really Republicans. A lot of Trump supporters really are more on my side. Honestly, they're not really right wing. They call themselves conservative, but it's so funny because they're conserving this culture, which is really our culture. It's awesome. But salty nymph. Anyway, what they did in Boston, which I forgot to mention before, was, setting up that rally called the Free Speech Rally, which you have to admit was fucking genius. Let's set up a rally that we know was going to trigger the fake left and we'll call it free speech. So when they get triggered, we're going to show the world that the fake leftists were against free speech. It's just genius. The problem is with it is that it makes me look bad, because now people are going to say leftists and leftists and leftists. So, you know, that's why I wanted to officially come out and say free speech liberal right here, and by the Pasovich and all these other guys. You know, I don't like your politics, but in terms of culture, spot on, my friends. Spot on. That's all I had to say. That's why I brought it onto the VIP scope. So, as always, love Platinum Mimi, Liran, Helen, all you guys that helped to get the book. We're going to get closer, and once I finish my degree in a couple of months, I'm going to go out and work my ass off so I can build up the gap so we can get this damn book out. That's the plan. Love your takeaway. Always a pleasure, Salty Nymph, sorry. I get confused. It used to be, I don't even remember what your old name was anymore. It's amazing. It's like those construction sites, you know, when you see the new site, you don't remember what used to be there anymore in the past. Too funny. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Fancy flock. I was thinking something with an F, yeah. Fancy flock. That would have been a cool line you could have underneath. Flock you, bitches. Anyway, so it's good. The reason that it was a good thing from my perspective is that stuff averts civil war, and that's why I think America, without a demographic shift, which I think is coming, pains something, but it will take a bit longer. The demographic shift, without that, America is pretty safe. Because, you know, they have that deplorable thing in their nature, which is like to just expose anyone who has any tinge of elitism, authoritarianism. You know, it's really good. Anyway, I got to go to work, so I just had to share that with you guys. And now you know a bit more of my past activist life. Man, we did some crazy stuff. Alrighty, I got nothing else for you. So if you haven't yet been able to afford to either go to Patreon or pre-order a copy of the book, Sharing is Caring, then definitely just share the link wherever you can, so we can help spread the word. Rally of Liberals and Conservatives Against Violence. See, Liran is way ahead. This is the thing. Like our Gabsmack think tank is too far ahead. You know, like as I said, 10 years ago we were trying to do this stuff and destroy the fake left before it took over our party. And 10 years later, everyone else is, you know, starting to catch on. So it's I think Liran is 10 years ahead. There should be absolutely free speech liberals and conservatives, everyone against violence. Absolutely. Absolutely, my friends. Maybe we should do that together. See, we should do that stuff. I was going to say, people here should open stuff like Free Speech Cafe. Like, you know it's going to get blown up and stuff. So just open it. Open the line, put Free Speech Cafe, and have a video to detect all of the Antifa who will come and, like, torch it. And have Free Speech Library, Free Speech Coffee. This coffee was ground in free speech areas. Like, it should be everywhere, right? Like Free Speech Liberal, Free Speech Rally, Free Speech Fruits, organic Free Speech chicken through Scope. Yeah. We should do that from now on, like just to rub the authoritarian's face in it. Yeah. Anyway, love you guys. I'm gonna free speech go to my free speech work so I can drive my buses free speech. All right. Love you guys, man. All right.